So I'm here with Jeff Travell, the founder of Knox. And Jeff, you actually invented the first ever back protector, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah, a long time ago, way back in the early 80s. Done because I used to be a budding racer, and my dream always was to ride in Grand Prix, but like so many guys at that time, you know, big crash, no protection, ended up in hospital for weeks on end. Laying there, a penny dropped. I was an upholsterer, and upholstery paid for my racing. And I got to know Barry Sheen quite well, and I was told by one of his managers that he used a foam cushion from his mum's sofa in the back of his leathers.
Barry Sheen, legend.
Barry Sheen, legend, yeah. I'm an upholsterer and the penny dropped. Well, why can't I make a back protector? Stop myself getting hurt.
Okay.
So we did that when I got out of hospital. I went to see my local foam supplier. They pointed me towards packaging foam. And 3 months later, the first back protector ever produced came out in December '81.
Now that is the first ever back protector. As you say, based on the fact you'd had an accident, spent time in hospital, chatted to Barry Sheen and thought, we need to sort something out. We can't have these international superstars riding around with a cushion up their back.
Well, absolutely. I mean, obviously that was 5 or 6 years before that with Barry Sheen using that. But yeah, in '82 we went to the British GP at Silverstone, and the Rosses and Lorenzo of the day were queuing outside our van buying this product from us.
Now, what's interesting is this is literally just a bit of moulded foam, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and things have just come on leaps and bounds in the intervening years. Most people will remember, you know, either this one, which was our first CE-approved back protector, or this one, you know, it's the KC100, KC2000. Very famous brand product then. And we go through the years. I mean, today, this is the Aegis. This is our most popular back protector. It's our best seller by a country mile.
Look how much it's come on from that original piece of moulded foam.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really flexible back protector because we found that naturally, as you're standing up, your back has one length. When you crouch down, your back grows in length because of the bend.
And the pesky motorcycle races tend to move around quite a bit,
This allows for it, and it's got all the movement in the straps, in the body belt here. You can move up and down to make sure you get the best fit.
But you don't have to go for the full-on back protection like this, because you're actually quite subtly wearing a new range from you guys, aren't you, of protection right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And the concept of this is just being able to show that you don't have to wear a bike jacket with it. You can just wear a normal everyday jacket.
Well, this is just a foam jacket, isn't it?
This is just a normal material. Everyday jacket. Underneath I have our new Urban shirt, and the whole concept of that is to show it's very low profile, low key, but really great level of protection.
Well, this has still got, as you say, prop up modern protection in there, and yet you can just wear that over a shirt. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the same protection you've seen downstairs as testing, so you know, we know that the level of protection is there.
But Jeff, it's not just for on-track and urban riding you do all sorts of body armour, don't you? I mean, look, there's some off-road armour I can see there, and that's completely different concept, isn't it?
Oh, completely different. This is the Warrior harness, and this is really quite different because most motocrossers use what they call roost shields, which actually, they're great from literally from the roost, but they're no good to crash in. Yeah. This is a fully CE-approved, crash-proof protector. And yeah, you've got chest protection, shoulder, upper arm protection, back protection, so it's a full torso.
So we go from that, which looks like, as you say, almost military kind of armour, to this, which is a kind of more textile material, isn't it? But with armour in as well. Yeah,
absolutely. That's basically the MCN award-winning Venture shirt that we developed last year. And again, you know, nothing is new. Yeah. We made these this type of garment back in the mid-90s as well, but we decided, you know, that it's funny how trends go. That there has been a trend where everything needs to be plastic and hard, and now it's going towards everything needs to be soft and supple. And I think that's largely to do with the difference in riding styles now. So this was a soft, much more supple, protective shirt that guys can wear, and you know, it's been very successful for us.
And it's not just the styles that have come on, obviously, since the original back protection design. The level of protection is phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, science has played a huge part in bringing it up.
Absolutely now, yeah. I mean, there's no question. You know, fortunately, I've been part of the European standards making organisation for a long time now, and there's been various research done in that shows that the accident injury levels before armour was really introduced and after the CE level.
Yeah.
And while it shows that there is no fewer accidents, the level of injuries in those accidents is much lower, which is brilliant because that means you're less likely to break bones and you're less likely to spend lots of time in hospital. And probably more importantly, if you do break bones, instead of horrible shatters, they're very clean, easy to fix.
Well, I know we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration later to show the different standards of armour and what it's like to have armour on and not have armour on in a crash. But first up, it's not just armour you do as well, is it? Let's go take a look at some of your gloves.
And this obviously is the famous hand droid. And the big difference with this unique feature is the exoskeleton finger protectors, which are there designed to protect these knuckles. It then links into a metacarpal protector that protects at the back of the hand and all the bones in there and the knuckles there. Then we turn it over and you've got the scaphoid protection system. And the great thing about that is, as you know, everybody puts their hand out. It's a natural human reaction. But with the scaphoid, and particularly on a motorcycle, you've got speed involved. And as soon as you've got speed involved, typically the normal leather of a glove has a high coefficient of friction similar to a road. It's very, very grippy, wears out very fast. So if you go down without that, the hand grips, your body is travelling faster than your hand, so you get hyperextension.
Oh.
And if you don't get hyperextension, you get compression loading. And if it doesn't break your scaphoid, it'll pop your collarbone because the energy has to go somewhere.
Something that really intrigues me, Jeff, is the fact that you make a lot of this stuff here, don't you, in your factory?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would it be cool to go and have a look around and
For
see how it's
sure,
done?
absolutely, no problem.
Cool. So we're now on the factory floor where all the magic happens. And Jeff, this is literally the door where all the raw materials for the armour come through, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. All the raw materials come in here. They'll either go into a safe storage or they'll go just straight down to be cut.
So Jeff, as you can see, these are all the raw materials. Now, for what you're currently making on the line now, you've got 3 different types of material, haven't you, that you're using?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the honeycomb section here, which is the protective element, and then we've got 2 different thicknesses of foam.
So it's really interesting, as you can see on the wall there, it's all the different templates for all the different shape of armour that you make.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just tons and tons and tons.
What's the next stage?
Next stage is the thermoforming, which is just over here.
So Jeff, what we can see here are the 3 individual pieces we've just had cut by Dave, and then it looks like they're being put together in almost like making a sandwich.
Martin is just literally laying them up, putting the honeycomb section onto the soft foam there, ready to go into the oven.
So they actually get cooked?
Then they get cooked. He's putting one in the oven now and taking one out, swapping them around. So it's a very, very finely timed system.
So Jeff, this is actually starting to resemble what looks like a back protector, but there's one more stage, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. After the thermoforming, this has got an excess on that we need to trim off. So the final product comes over here, and Annie's here trimming these. They get trimmed straight off here and get straight packed in 2 boxes that then get ready to be sent out.
So Jeff, we're now at the start of the clothing line, aren't we?
Yep.
And that looks very cool. That's a very shiny, nice, sexy mould. What exactly goes on here?
Well, this is an embossing mould. People don't really associate the complexity of the mouldings when they see the finished product.
Yeah.
For example, that's part of the finished product that actually gets stitched to the back of a gorilla shirt. But when you see that, you don't realise that it's made out of a tool like that.
Brilliant. So that's how you get, as you say, the actual moulding there, and then it needs a bit of sewing, doesn't it?
It does, and that goes on to into this next section.
So Jeff, what's Evelyn doing here? She seems to be laying out lots of material on top of each other.
Yeah, basically when we cut garments, we don't cut them individually, we cut them at 20 at a time, and Evelyn is now laying up 20 layers of this fabric. She'll mark it then and then cut all of the fabric all at one time. When all the parts come together, they're put into a box like this with all the labels, all the elastics, all the zips, everything that the machinist needs. So when they get the box, all they have to do is stitch.
So Jeff, now we've seen how all the body armour and clothing is made, I know a lot of people out there will be saying, well, why should I even bother forking out on body armour? I've just worn a jacket all my life and it's absolutely fine. But you're going to give us a bit of a visual demonstration on the exact difference it can make in an impact, aren't you?
Absolutely. Well, I hope so anyway. You know, I think it's very, very convincing. And I think, like a lot of those guys, when I first started, there was no armour.
Of course.
And hence that's why we started making it. But, you know, this is a very graphical demonstration as to why you should wear it and what the difference it makes.
Okay, so we're simply going to drop a 5 kilogram
5 kilo weight. I think I've just, that's a 5 kilo adult shot put,
yeah.
Right?
That's
Olympic
heavy.
athletes will throw 17 metres.
That's heavy.
It's very impressive actually.
Yeah.
But okay, we've got a bit of foam here that just to purely represent a bit of skin.
Yeah, and that is, as you say, that actually has kind of the same dexterous strength, as we say, and
Yeah,
kind of
similar.
feels as our skin.
Not exactly the same, but
So
similar.
first up, we're going to do the test by
So all we
whatsoever.
do is put a bit of foam on the ground there, drop that 5 kilo weight on it. Right, so first thing is it's going to be loud.
Yep.
And it's going to make a hole.
Go on.
Okay.
That was loud, actually.
That was loud, see?
Let's have a look at the damage.
You've got to remember that noise because it's really important. There's the noise.
Wow.
Now,
and if that was my skin...
everybody will know that if they're just running down the street and fall over, you can easily tear a skin in your... tear a hole in your skin.
And that's not taking into account friction or anything, is it?
Absolutely. Now that probably is a bone breaker, there's no question about that.
Wow. And that's standing still, hitting
That's
a 5
standing
kilo
still.
object.
Now,
let's do it with
other
the
bit
armour.
of skin. Put a new piece in.
I'm glad he didn't actually do that on my arm.
Put the protector over the top, and again, listen to the noise.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it?
And that is the no hole. If anything, maybe a slight bit of bruising, but
And that's the difference between
that's the
breaking a
difference
bone.
between. Oh, absolutely. So this is basically a replica of the type of machine that our test house has.
Okay.
And we're dropping 5 kilos from 1 metre, and the impact energy of that is 50 kilonewtons.
Yep.
And to pass the CE regulations, you have to be below 35 kilonewtons.
Is that the amount of energy that's transferred through the padding?
That's the amount of energy that's transferred. So to pass the CE test, all you have to absorb is 30%.
Okay, so there's obviously a different standard of protection. Once you've got the CE approval, it doesn't just mean that's the best protection you can have.
Oh, absolutely not. No, because the lower the number in terms of what's transmitted, the less your body has to cope with.
And the better the protection.
And the better the protection.
Okay, so you'll do a few demonstrations for us now here, aren't you, with some CE-approved armour that's not yours.
And some that is ours.
Take it away, sir.
To give you an example.
And we get a nice graph readout around the corner, don't we?
Yeah, it's all read out on an oscilloscope around the corner.
Again, the noise is huge.
Is incredible, isn't it? Okay, the performance standard in the CE test is to be below 35 kilonewtons. That means transmitted force into the body.
So how did that piece do?
That piece, unfortunately, did 44.3 kilonewtons. So that's transmitting more, well, that would fail the CE test.
And yet that's been provided with clothing by somebody else.
And it's got a CE mark on it.
As you can see. Okay, well, let's see how your armour does on this test.
Okay.
Audially, there's no noise. It's incredible.
Staggering.
And let's have a look at the graph. How's it done?
So 8 is, and the...
It's 38 kilonewtons difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And we only need 35 to pass, but our best armour is now at 8.
So a massive thank you to Knox today for having us up, and it is incredible to know how much body protection has come on in the last 30 years. And, well, after what we've learned today, I know what I'm going to be wearing.